Good morning, students. Welcome to the first lecture of History of Animation. First, let us know what is animation. The literal meaning of animate is to give life or make alive or to make lively or energetic. So, what do you understand by this? So, we have something that is not living, right? So, here we are making it lively or alive. So that is the basic meaning of animation. It is derived from the Latin word that is anima, meaning life, soul, or spirit. Hope you are getting my point. Early approaches to motion in art, that is visual storytelling. From the early ages, what human race has done is they have tried to make a mark that they exist. And before, even when the language was not there, how people used to communicate was through pictures where they wanted to depict some kind of motion, like a group of people, a group of hunters have gone to a hunt to hunt some animal. So how do they tell the story of that hunt to the people back in their village or in their tribe? So it get back to that date when we have cave paintings like in Lascaux, Chauvet, where animals in this particular painting you can see we can see there are two bulls, few deer kind of animals. There is one horse over here. So the people are describing what they see outside their caves. Moving on to Bhimbetka cave shelters, that is near Bhopal in India, Madhya Pradesh. This is the painting from Bhimbetka. What do we see here is there is kind of a procession going on where this particular image has a man sitting on a horse that is being decorated. This horse is normal and a man is sitting holding some kind of stuff in the hand. Then there is this horse, a man, this man, and this horse, and this man, right? And also, we can see there is this man holding a dholak kind of a drum with two faces. This is how they used to depict what was happening in their lives. In both these paintings, what do we see is they are trying to capture emotion over here, right? Moving on to Egyptian murals and friezes, sequential imagery to depict activities like hunting and dancing. Over here, this is one Egyptian painting or an Egyptian mural. In Greek pottery and reliefs, what do we see over here is a sequence of images that is showing a certain kind of story. Maybe this man is trying to kill this man, a few horses, shields, some kind of weapons in their hands. So, what do we get to know from all these paintings? These are recorded, these are being in caves or on the utensils. What do we see is the man has tried to tell a story, what they feel, they are trying to express themselves. Moving on to the next slide, this is sequential art of visual storytelling. Over here, a very complicated painting that you see. This is from Rajasthan. This kind of art is called Fud painting, written over here, which is reminiscent of modern day storyboard. Like you can see a sequence of motions depicted, kind of a comic strip. The biggest image is of the Raja, right? Similar kind of things we see on the Trajan's column in Rome over here. Then we move on to shadow play or puppetry. You can see the name Wayang Kulit in Indonesia. This is a kind of shadow puppetry that used to happen, and it still happens. What people, this is the puppeteer over here. What they do is they use stencils, paper stencils, with some kind of stick, and what they do is there is one puppeteer over here and a group on the side that is singing and playing some music. So what they do is they try to tell a story in a poetic form or in a theatrical form. What is happening between these two, a dialogue or an ancient story, like what we see in Rajasthani Katputli. That is also visual storytelling and a very basic kind of that. Now, in the history, what has happened? Animation before the film, optical toys. Many of us will be very familiar to this one. When we used to have uh, Coca-Cola or a Pepsi, that cap of that bottle, and we used to flatten it, and we used to pierce a thread between that, and we used to rotate it like this. That is called a thermotrope, which was invented in 1824. A disc with images on both sides appear as one image when spun. Advancing on to phenakistoscope in 1832. This used to rotate like this, anti-clockwise. And what happens is, this is usually kind of a walk cycle. Right? So what happens is, when this disc is rotated on this pivot, this is the center of this. When this disc is rotated and seen from a certain point, like I'm looking at it from this point, this man or this boy, it seems to move in a cycle. So that is the basic principle. When you have a sequence of still images and when you put it into a motion, you get a motion picture, right? Or it feels animated or it feels alive. Now, few more toys, optical toys. This is zoetrope. Remember this one? This one, phenakistoscope. When we put images in a sequence in a cylindrical form and see through these slits, kindly observe these slits over here. So what we have is, we have a viewpoint over here. The person is looking from over here. And these images, when rotated anti-clockwise or clockwise, this seems to move. That is the basic principle used in a zoetrope. Cylinder with a strip of sequential images viewed through slits, as explained. Advanced version of zoetrope is a praxinoscope, invented in 1877. Can you see what has happened over here? This is basically a zoetrope only, with a mechanism to rotate it, right? Adding on to what has added over here, lenses and light and projection. Similar to zoetrope but used mirrors for clearer images. Lenses, light and also mirrors. You all must have gone to that local fair or a mela where you see that that device where you see through a hole and the picture starts moving, right? And the music is being played. That is kind of that uses the same principle. Pictures and a motion or a motion picture. Just point out that word, motion picture. Right? Again, this is what? This is a magic lantern from 17th century. Can you see these? These are these are glass. What? Printed glass. And there is this kind of a light box over here. So what happens is, this is a kind of a projector, an early day projector. Light box generates light. Then we have this kind of a revolver over here, where these mirrors, glasses have images which goes on to this area. This light passes through through the lens and projects on a screen. A very early day projector dating to 17th century. Then shadow theaters. We have seen in the earlier slide, this one, shadow puppetry. Use of cutout figures placed between a light source and a screen to create storytelling through silhouettes. Now, we must understand what were the inventions that has boosted this animation industry. First of all, animation, is a part of mass communication, has been used to communicate messages, to entertain people. So the earliest things were photography and motion studies. What is photography? Photography is basically capturing the light into a box or onto a sensor or onto a film and recreate that moment that was captured. So recreation of that. Over here, graphy, this word graphy, wherever you read this word, it means the study of repetition. When we repeat something, what we are repeating over here is a photo. Photo means light. And graphy means repetition. And putting those photographs into a motion becomes a motion picture. And in this case, an animated movie. Edward Muybridge, 1878, used a sequential photograph of running horses to study motion. Mark you, this is the earliest Edward Muybridge. Remember this name. Athene Julius Mary developed chronophotography, capturing phases of motion in one image. What does chrono means? It means an order. Photographs put into an order and hence giving you a motion. You must have heard or fascinated this word a lot. That is cinema. Where does this word comes from? Is cinematographic devices. Kinetoscope in 1891. I want to just focus on this word. What does a scope means? That means focus on a certain point. And kineto is motion. Kinetoscope, 1891. Thomas Edison, a very well-known inventor. Invention for viewing motion pictures individually. After 4 years of that, cinematograph, 1895. Lumiere brothers, camera and projection system. Remember these words, remember these names, remember these years. Because all that we study in animation, in mass communication or in media devices, these are the fathers of that. these people, they have what they have done is they have put their life onto what we see as entertainment today. Then comes stop motion technique. A very literal word to the sense is stopping the motion. Earlier, what we are doing is we are trying to create a motion with stopped images. Flip that and you get stop motion. Creating a movement while moving, like I have a timeline. Just create an imaginary timeline over here. Let us create one imaginary timeline over here. Right? Over here, I have a ball. Over here, the ball moves like this. Over here, the ball moves like this. And then it goes like this, it goes like this, it goes like this. And again, it starts moving. So this is the basic timeline of any animation. And what do we get? Is a rhythm or a motion. When we cut off these, we get stop motion. You will better understand this when you experiment this. Try to just take out your camera phone, place it on a tripod, and anything. If I have this pen, try to create a motion. First click, second click, third click, fourth click, fifth click, sixth click, seventh click, eighth click, and going on. And then put those images into a motion. You will get a motion, right? So this is the basic of stop motion. Let me clear this. Moving on to the slide. So over here, the first animated films. How was it when the people experimented and got into this world that we can animate, we can create something, we can make something alive, and that was marked as silent era. Why silent era? Because at the earlier stage, photograph and sound, the technology was not that advanced. It cannot be recorded simultaneously. So that is why it is called as silent era. There was a music edit, but not basically vocals or sounds. Early animation had no synchronized sound, used music or narrators for accompaniment. There was music, there were narrators, but no synchronized sound. I will mark this word twice. Simple black and white animations with strong visual storytelling. The first animated film, Humorous Phases of Funny Faces, 1906 by J. Stuart Blackton. It, if you see, it is available on YouTube. If you see that film, what happens is, this animator, this man, J. Stuart Blackton, what he has done is, he has used a blackboard, simple drawings, and stop motion technique. So what happens is, when he has put those pictures in a sequence, it appears to be in motion. That is the basic principle of any animation movie. Second one was Phantasmagory. Again, it was in 1908, 2 years after that, by Emile Cole. First fully hand-drawn animated film with morphing shapes and stick figures. Very simple figures. Morphing shapes means it used to convert into different things, like a square going on to be a ball. Kind of these. Again, available on YouTube. You can take a reference of that. Key pioneers were Winsor McCay. This can be the third. Not this. Gertie the dinosaur. In 1914, a character animation with interaction between live presenter and animation. What happens? Like I am teaching on the smart board. What happens if the smart board acts onto my instructions? That is what Winsor McKay has done with Gertie the dinosaur. Then Max Fleischner developed rotoscoping, tracing live footage for realistic movement. What happens is, like I have this letter D. If I have to pick this up or cut it out of over here, uh, if it is written on a paper, I will use scissors, right? If it is digital or on a film, I have to put an outline over here to take a cut. But what happens when it is in a motion? That is where this rotoscoping comes into place. A very important thing, a whole different subject that maybe we will discuss it in a different lecture. Tracing of live footage. Tracing a single image. If you have cut any picture out of a paper, you know how difficult it becomes. But over here, they are cutting live action or live motion done on a film. A very difficult thing, right? So concluding over here, and let us discuss all of these and get more questions from you. And in the next chapter, so here you can see there is Gertie. Let us continue this in the next lecture. Thank you very much.